Terrence Roberts was one of a group of teens known as the Little Rock Nine who helped desegregate high schools. In 1954, the Supreme Court ruled segregation of schools unconstitutional. But 3 years later, when a group of African American students enrolled in Central High School, Arkansas governor defied the high court's ruling and ordered the National Guard to keep them out of the all-white school. President Eisenhower intervened and ordered the 101st Airborne Division to escort the teens past an angry crowd and into the classroom. My guest, Terrence Roberts, was one of the courageous teens known as the Little Rock Nine. Terrence, welcome.
Thank you.
What was it like to be a teenager and be ushered through that angry crowd?
Well, it was pretty frightening, to tell the truth. We, the Nine, had anticipated that folk wouldn't be happy about this change in law and custom, but we thought they would come and give voice to that opposition and then perhaps go home or to work or wherever they might go. But they were rooted and grounded and basically angry that we were there.
Did you feel brave at the time? Did you feel like I'm really doing something here? Or was it kind of like, how did it come about that you were one of the nine?
There was a lot of confusion at first. We weren't even thinking in those terms. Basically, we were trying to stay alive. Often people ask me, were you able to learn under those circumstances? And I always say, we learned survival 101.
Absolutely. How has this moment, and I'm sure it did, how has it shaped your life?
Quite a bit. I find myself having forums that probably would not have been available prior. So I have a chance to speak my piece about what's going on in this country as a consequence of going through that experience.
Racial profiling was a major focus during the recent trial into the death of Trayvon Martin. How do you think profiling is reflected, or it does reflect racism today?
Yes, it's one form of racism. It's interesting how these terms come and go through the ages. Racial profiling is one of the current ones, but basically it's all about this unresolved issue of what to do with black people in this country, at least from the standpoint of those who prefer the ideology of racism. Actually, when you think about it, there is no problem that exists except in the minds of those who see it as a problem.
It's not a reality unless there's something that Trayvon, like the Trayvon Martin case that comes up.
Yes, Trayvon Martin was simply out to buy whatever he was buying at the convenience store, and he wound up dead. It's hard to reconcile that with who we are, who we say we are as a people. We say, the rhetoric says, that we are law-abiding and we respect each other's rights. The truth is, that's a myth.
And we have a president who's African American. We have diversity in schools now in color. It's hard to see racism manifested, but do you have examples of where you see racism being manifested today?
Well, in that very sentence that you just said, it's there. When we accept race as something real, that is racism. Race is mythological. It has never existed biologically. There's no support for the notion, and yet we the people embrace it with some fervor. Obviously, if that continues, we cannot get out of the trap we're in.
Does it surprise you it's 2013, and in light of all the progress over the last 50 or so years, we still have issues?
Well, we haven't made real progress in the areas where it counts. We've made progress on the surface. We have a very thin veneer of civility. We're nice to each other these days. We allow each other to sit in public space without problems. However, underneath that bubbles this intense feeling and this sense that black people especially, or people of color in general, are interlopers in this country. That in the minds of many folk, this is a white country and should remain so.
What do you think needs to happen to progress past this or move us forward away from racism and into a more civilized community?
Well, once we as a collective want to do that. You see, I'm convinced that people do what they want to do. There was a period of time in this country when the powers that be suggested we should not sell or manufacture or imbibe alcoholic beverages. Prohibition. Didn't last long, because Americans said, we will get drunk. We will keep our right to drink. People wanted that, and so it happened. So far, people have not wanted to end the madness around race.
Well, thank you so much for your insight and sharing your story, Terrence Robert, one of the Little Rock Nine. Thank you.
Thank you.